like if nothing happens out of this, if I don't get picked up by a network or if I don't know, whatever. It's all good because I still got to have these awesome experiences and awesome conversations with these people.
Like for instance, Anthony Michael Hall. I think that was
Yeah,
like, I mean, that must have been amazing, man, because I'm a big
I
fan of
I,
his.
I waited. I want to say like I waited 8 hours for that interview.
Wow. 8 hours?
Yeah, he did an event out here, and then they told me like, hey, come before the event. We'll do the interview. You can stick around, hang out, and everything. So I went at 4. I went at 3 or 4, and I stuck around. But he was doing his thing. He was getting the show set up, and I was like, all right, I guess we're gonna just watch this Anthony Michael Hall movie. So we watched the movie, and I just sat there, and I'm like, all right, so he's gonna do his meet and greet, and hopefully maybe after that. So
Which one
the
was
guy
it,
who
D?
organized, I'm sorry.
Which one was it? If you don't mind me asking,
Uh,
or if you remember.
it was Weird Science.
Oh, oh, I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that movie,
that's a
dude.
great movie.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Everybody had an 8-year-old boner watching that damn thing. So so it was after the meet and greet that the guy who organized the whole event, he goes, hey, this guy's been waiting all day for an interview, and he looked at me, he goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's cool, man. As long as I get, and I got a good amount of
Wow.
time with him. He was a real cool guy.
That's, man, 8 hours. That's like getting an autograph from Tito Ortiz. And I only say that because like I've heard that he waits for like he doesn't like he signs he gives everybody an autograph. Like he'll wait there
Awesome.
for like as long as he needs to until he gets
To make
until he
sure
gets
everybody
every
yeah,
fan. So like that says a
gotcha.
lot about both of you. It says a lot about how much you wanted to interview him, how much you appreciated him, and also it says a lot about him, wanting
No, yeah,
to
and
make time for that.
afterwards he was really appreciative. He's like, hey man, I had a great time. He goes, you really looked up like a lot of stuff that not a lot of people ask about. And I was like, yeah, that's what
I
I
remember
like to
that.
do to stand up.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk the Talk, Season 9. We have a very special guest today. Dee, you want to do the introduction? You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. It's Dee from DNC Digital, YouTube interviewer. Put me on the spot. I'm not sure what to say.
No, just if you want to, say your own name. That's all. Sometimes I say the name and I don't always say it correctly. I was pretty sure I could say Dee Vargas.
Yeah, Dee Vargas
Vargas.
is pretty easy.
Vargas,
Yeah.
Vargas,
Either way, man.
Right. So I'm
It's
your
all
host,
good.
Jose Olmeda. We also got Daniel J. Castañeda. You want to?
Morning, everyone. I am your host, Daniel J. Castañeda. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Just trying to make it happen. I have a job that I work in finances, and so it's going well. Everything's good. Thankfully, everybody's healthy and happy. I can't really ask for anything else.
Nice. I have a couple of questions. How long did it take you to actually establish the DC Digital as far as like where it is right now?
So it took a long time because it was a little bit after high school that I did like internet radio. Like back then when people were just streaming on websites. And so I had this small little internet radio show, but I took a break. And then it was about 2018 or 17. There was like a local Comic Con, and I just asked the owner if I can do some interviews. So we did that on YouTube. And every time they do the show, I just go and do some interviews. And then I started doing gaming. And then it was like a blessing in disguise because my PS4 busted. So I was doing the gaming to stay consistent on YouTube because if you don't do anything in a week, they forget about you. So I was doing that to stay consistent between all the shows because the shows were only like 2 or 3 times a year. So then after, excuse me, after the PS4 busted, I was like, I got to do something. So I started doing the audio podcasts and putting them on YouTube and doing once a week. And still, even if I had a show, I do that during the week. So 2019, I think I really like started going full speed ahead. So it doesn't really take long. It just takes a decision. You just nothing happens until you make up your mind,
Yeah.
and that's what I did.
Yeah, I mean, and it's with everything. Um, I mean, it took me a long time as well, to do whatever it is that I did. I mean, almost 10 years,
Yeah,
to establish a name for yourself,
sure.
especially here. You know what I mean? Because I mean, if you go to Los Angeles and over there, it's kind of hard because you're competing over thousands and thousands of other people and the same thing you're doing, and
Mhm.
it's kind of hard, to actually set that foot and then actually running with it and making a name for yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think our goals are a lot different because I understand, you want to, be in the entertainment business, and that takes a long time, and it takes, meeting the right people and being in front of the right eyes. What I do though, like just doing interviews, I don't really have an end game for it.
Yeah.
I just do it, and I enjoy doing it. I don't really worry about what's going to happen in a year or 5 years when it comes to my YouTube channel because I just
Yeah.
enjoy it because I just enjoy the little celebrations, the little victories that I have because I've been able to interview some really, really cool people. Some people that are part of my childhood, some actors that were part of my childhood, and
I
some
wanted
actors
to
that I was a
touch on
big
that.
fan of. I'm sorry?
No, I wanted to touch on that because you have interviewed a lot of really awesome guests, basically.
I have another question on that.
Yeah.
As far as like, how long does it take you to actually prepare for an interview and stuff like that? Like, do you when they tell you, okay, you're gonna interview this person, uh, how long does it take you to actually get all that information?
It really doesn't take long because you just got to know where to look, and you got to know what to look for. So if you want to just do a red carpet fluff piece, you say, hey, what about this role drew you to the script and some shit like that. But I've had interviews scheduled like a month ahead of time, and I've had interviews scheduled like hours ahead of time. So it's really just looking in the right spot. So if you're a fan, it's easy. If you're not too familiar with their work, you look up their. So I'm gonna give you guys little tips and tricks about what I do. So I look up their Wikipedia to go through the history of their career.
Yeah.
I use their maybe if it's a role or if it's especially if it's a role that they're very famous for. I use that I use their experience to ask about something parallel in a different kind of industry.
Yeah.
Another thing I do, I look at their Instagram because that can be pretty personal, whether it's about kids or different goals. What I really do, I like to look at people's Twitters because that's where I find out how the wheels spin in their head. It could be some weird ass comment that they made on a TV show, or it can be something about their childhood. Like, so I just like to stand out, and I've looked up people's high schools, and I've looked up like what's the name of the football team, and I looked up what was the football team's rival. One wrestler does burlesque, so I looked up the history of burlesque and who were some prominent figures in the history of burlesque. You just got to know what to look for because you don't want to be thrown in a pile of interviewers that just ask the same questions. You want because my audience is that person first. If that person's having a good time, then we're gonna have some good content and a good interview. And I have different favorites for different reasons.
Right.
Some with Rob Paulson, who played Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, and I
Oh, cool.
I don't even remember what we talked about. If you look at my face, I'm just staring at the guy because I'm like, it's really him. Like it's really him.
Hey.
I met Townsend Coleman, who played Michelangelo in the original Teenage
Oh,
Mutant
that's
Ninja
cool.
Turtles.
Oh,
I
nice.
remember going up to him like, "Hey,
Ninja
do you mind if I
Cowboy.
have a few, minutes of your time?" He goes, "Oh, sure, bro." And my palms started sweating. I couldn't breathe. And there were bigger stars like in the show, like in the Comic Con that was going on. And he looked at me, he goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, you just have no idea who you were for me, because this is crazy for me. This is not. This is surreal." But Anthony Michael Hall, the production work, the just the fact that I had like 20 minutes with the guy and we went through his career, he was really appreciative afterwards and goes, "Hey man, you did a great job." He goes, "I'm not bullshitting you. You did a great job, and just keep doing what you're doing." And my mother-in-law is like, it's like her favorite interview that I've ever done. It sticks out when people talk about my interviews.
Definitely, definitely, man. And I messed up. I made a mistake. I said Ninja Cowboy. That was Donatello.
That was Donatello, yeah. But
I
it's
think
your show. It's all good. It's your show.
no, but wait, I want to say a cool quote of that Michelangelo says. What's
Cowabunga, bro. Cowabunga.
Oh,
Of course, yes,
Yeah.
man. There we go. There's plenty. There's plenty. I love part 2, man. The Secret of the Ooze is one of my
The Secret of
favorites.
the
I
Ooze,
could
yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit, Dee? I have a question as well.
What's up?
You seem to support a lot of the wrestling scene, where
Oh yeah, man.
whether it's local, it can be also, I know you will talk about WWE.
Yeah.
Are you? I mean, obviously you're a fan, but when did that all start for you? Because I know for me, like, because I've seen some of your episodes. I've seen some of your like reviews on the best tag teams. I was watching that video in particular,
Cool,
the 50
thanks.
best tag teams, which
Yeah.
man, I have my own take on that. But
Yeah,
I grew
definitely.
up as a little kid watching Hulk Hogan. It was Hulk Hogan,
Mhm.
and for my brother, it was the Macho Man. So we both of us were the Mega Powers, and then we were
Right,
Demolition,
gotcha.
and then we were Demolition. I was Smash, he was Axe, and I wore this shirt just for this.
Oh, look at
Yeah.
you. Look at
Yeah,
you.
man. Yeah. So I'm a fan, but I'm more of a fan of the old school. Like
Mhm.
I wish I could be more of a fan today. To be honest, it's just there's certain things that just make me upset, and I'm just like, man, I wish it wasn't like this. They
No,
need to
yeah,
give
I understand.
more opportunities for
Yeah.
guys like Kevin Owens. Dolph Ziggler
Sure.
had his opportunity, but like it kind of messes with me. So when did it all start for you?
I don't have a first memory for wrestling.
Wow. Okay.
I'm 30. How old am I? I'm turning 36. And I was, and my brother told me I was 2 years old doing the sharpshooter on him. And it's always been there. Mental health has been such an open conversation. And, it may sound silly because the thing is about wrestling, if you are a fan of wrestling, no explanation is necessary. But if you are not a fan of wrestling, no explanation will ever do to explain why we love this so much. So, like, it's always been a safe space for me. It's always been a safe place. I can always go there and, suspend disbelief and everything. And, personally speaking, I never had a father figure. I've had father figures, excuse me. I've had father figures. I just never had the father.
Yeah, same
He
here.
wasn't around as a kid. So, excuse me. I used to look at these guys like heroes and giants and somebody that I can aspire to be. I remember meeting Hulk Hogan. So I told him, I was like, hey, when I was a kid, like I didn't have you were the outside of my brother, my older brother, and my grandfather, you had the biggest male influence on my childhood. And I know he knows that he was everybody's hero, but I don't know if he's heard it, said like that because he was kind of taken back. He goes, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, like I really did drink my milk and I really did take my vitamins and I said my prayers because you told us to. So
Yeah.
I guess I want to thank you for keeping us in a straight line as kids because you did that for me." And he just put his hand on my shoulder. He goes, "Wow, brother," and he kind of just nodded his head and walked off. So when you talk about, not being able to be a fan about today's product, uh, you just got to remember the definition of a fan. I've never ran a successful wrestling company. I've never written 5 hours of TV a week. I've never been out there, putting my body and through all this hell like 4 nights a week. So I wouldn't have any kind of uh, I wouldn't have any kind of criticism that would be valid. So as a fan, I'd like to watch wrestling. So whether it's a bunch of crap or whether it's awesome stuff, I'm still going to sit there next Monday. So it wouldn't make any sense for me to complain. My brother comes over. I'm from New Jersey, so when my brother visits, we'll put on some wrestling, and he doesn't know who anybody is because he hasn't watched in years, and he'll just be like, "Who's that guy? Who's this girl? Who's that?" And I was like, I remember asking him, I'm like, how do you still watch if you don't even know who anybody is? He goes, I just like watching wrestling. And that's what really, like if you're a fan, just watch. Like that's our job. We just
Right,
watch.
right.
Of course, there's going to be some decisions that you're going to be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But
Of course, of course.
as long as it takes emotion out of you, it's doing something right. But yeah,
Right. And
I've
that's the
been
thing.
able
I still
to,
watch. I still watch from time to
yeah,
time, even though I don't, like I said, really like some of the stuff, I'll still watch because I'm a fan. I've been a fan since I was a little kid. And it's funny you said
yeah.
that about Hulk Hogan because it's so funny, man. I used to tell I remember like telling my mom, I looked at him as a father figure as well. And I would tell my mom, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, Mom, I want you to marry that guy. I was like, I'm gonna set you up.
Uh,
When I was a younger boy, I was like, I'm gonna set you up with Hulk Hogan. Like basically that's what I was
Nice.
trying to do. But but
I've been able
anyway,
to meet. I've been able to meet a lot of wrestlers. Ones, the ones from WWE, and then out here, there's just a huge local wrestling scene. So I've been able to
right.
cultivate relationships with a lot of wrestlers, and some that have moved on to WWE and AEW, and we still keep in touch. And
That's awesome.
it's just it's a cool world. There's a lot of support in that community, and it's a lot of really hardworking people in that community.
I know you mentioned that you have another job as far as and and I was looking through your Facebook a while back, and I know you had received an award for.
Oh yeah, I did.
So you wanna talk about that for a little bit? How it was a long process.
Yeah, no, it was a long process, you included. So
Hey.
at the end of 2020, I started this new job in finances. For anybody out there that needs any kind
Yep.
of, it's a full financial plan. It's life insurance, retirement planning. Joey, I'm still chasing you. We do
Hey.
investments. We do IRAs and we set up wills for people, and it's a really good company. But so yeah, it's the hardest way to make a good living. That's what I usually say about it. It's pretty tough because it's one of those make your own schedule. Work you put in is the work you get back. And I used to kind of roll my eyes at those kinds of jobs, but it's really become um, a really good job, a really good career, and it's taught me a lot about finances for my own life and even for my own daughter. I'm teaching her this stuff before she even graduates high school, and so yeah, I got the Rookie of the Year award, which is crazy because I think I could have done a lot better. But I was fortunate enough and blessed that I got recognized as the Rookie of the Year, and it was a really cool thing. But it's kind of like thanks and what's next, because we got to keep going. There's no, I'll celebrate it for like 10 seconds, but it's like I'm not where I want to be yet. And when I get to where I want to be, I want to see what else there is.
Congratulations
That's
on
really
that, by the way, D.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's awesome. And do you want to tell us about the name of the company and maybe a little bit of what you offer?
Yeah. It's Woodman Life. It's a company you probably haven't ever heard of, and that's a good thing and a bad thing because Jake from State Farm, Flo from Progressive, all those people, that stuff costs money. Those commercials cost a lot of money to produce, and as a company, I'm not going to use my own budget. We're going to take a piece of the profits because that's the revenue coming in. So all those service fees and administrative fees you see in other companies are kind of covering those costs. If I charge a million people 50 cents more on their policy, then I'm going to be able to produce a few commercials. So we are not publicly traded. We have no investors. We have no stockholders. If you were to buy a share in State Farm every 3 months, you're going to get a piece of the profit. But the policyholders for State Farm just have the policy. So over here, you get the best of both worlds. We give you back the profit in the form of a bunch of different benefits or a check at the end of the year, or just reinvest it into your policy. We do life insurance, which is a weird conversation for everybody, but I'm kind of brash with it. I tell people, this is so we stop the chicken plate sales and we stop the GoFundMe's. You don't want to be a burden on your family. God forbid anything happens to you. What's your family going to do if your income isn't coming into the household anymore? We protect all of that. We protect the kids. We protect your home and your car. And we've been around since 1890. So it's survived every financial disaster in the country.
Wow.
And we're still standing. And we have a lot of great benefits that come along with it. Like we do scholarship opportunities for the kids. We even help with student debt. We have a natural disaster benefit. If your house gets hit by a natural disaster, we help you out with up to $1,000 to offset some of the costs. We have a first responder benefit. If we have a first responder on the policy and they pass away in the line of duty, we'll give their family an extra $25,000 on top of their death benefit they already signed up for. In the case of two parents passing away, whether it's coming from HEB or going on a vacation, like, of course the kids are going to get that policy payout, but we're going to step in and take care of those kids. Each kid will get a monthly allowance of $1,000 a month until they're 19 years old. So these are some of the things that we get to do just because we don't have any investors or stockholders to keep happy. We have the policyholders to keep happy. 9 times out of 10, we're going to be cheaper than everybody. But that one time that you can find a cheaper price somewhere else, I'll show you the benefits and I'll ask you if that company offers the same.
Dang.
Hey.
Awesome, man. That sounds good. That sounds good. And you know what? We do need to talk. We do need to talk sometime, whether it's on the phone or like this, or maybe in person. You know, I know things are getting a little bit better.
And at the same time, it's just information. You know, people blow me off just to sit down, and I'm like, it's not like we're gonna kill you. Like, I'm just gonna give you information. You go home, think about it, call me if you want to. Nothing else. At the very least, you're getting educated on how this stuff works.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people say, "Oh, life insurance isn't for me; it's for my family. What am I going to do with that money?" There are life insurance policies where you can leverage money and you can finance yourself without having to go to a bank or a loan officer, and it won't affect your death benefit at all. Walt Disney, the banks would not give him money to open up Disneyland. He financed himself through his life insurance policy to use the money to open up Disneyland. So it's like there's certain products where there's a line of credit on the side where you can call me up like, "Hey, quinceañera's coming up. I need $5,000. If you have $5,000 in this certain account that we set up for you, then you just, boom, a week, it's in your bank. And then you pay it back at whatever rate you want." Like, I remember talking to somebody and he's like, "Hey, how's work?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool. Like, we got the newsletter. They wrote out $2 million last year in scholarship money for kids who have policies." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Yeah, we do scholarships for kids. We help out with scholarships. We give kids money to go to school." He's like, "Oh man, I didn't know that." I'm like, "Well, you fucking idiot. You didn't give me the chance to show you because you said no to just coming into my office." Like, I'm sorry, I'm from Jersey. I'm a little more brash than other people. You know, when they say like, "Oh, it's okay, I got it on my job," I'm like, "Great, you're gonna be there till you die? I thought you hated that job. Didn't you tell me you were gonna look for another job?" Like,
I was just talking to Daniel. I was just talking to Daniel about the importance of having a good job, like, and of enjoying your job. I think you have to enjoy it. Like, man, does it make a difference in your life? Like,
man, if you wake up and you're counting the hours you have to go to work, you need to look for something else. And I've done that for so long. Never been able to say that I love my job. At times, I did love my job, but I love my job now. Like, before, I would never see my kid. I'd pick her up from school and go to work and then done. So now, like, if she has a basketball game or if she has a band rehearsal or what, I just say, "All right, I'm gone." Like, there's no, I just make my own schedule. Like, I'd rather work, but if it's something, my girlfriend, her family, my daughter, like, okay, but I'm not coming into the office today, or I'm leaving early, or I'm gonna go to Jersey for a week to visit my mother.
nice.
I mean, I think that's what I think with everybody. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people say, "Well, no, I do this for my kids," but yet you don't really get to see your kids. You know, because you're working this 9 to 5, sometimes till 7 o'clock. If they ask you to be there a little bit late, you know what I mean? So when you actually have
you know,
time,
when people say, "Yeah, I do this for my kids," like, is that all you can do for your kids? And I'm not going to tell you how to be a parent. I'm not going to tell you what a good father is. And I'm not going to tell you what a good mother is. That's not my place.
Yeah.
But if you're settling for something, and if you're fine with that, all good. It's fine. People are going to do what they want to do. And I want people to do what they want to do. But I also want people to see what they can do. Like, what's stopping you? Nothing but yourself, because you're putting that own little voice in your head saying you can't do it. I tell that voice, "Fuck you, I'm going to show you I can do it." Because It's not that I want to do it, it's just that I have to do it. I have no choice. I refuse to lose, I refuse to fail. I will not ever ask for the mountain to be moved. I will only pray for strength to get over that mountain. And you're going to be bloodied up, you're going to be bruised up, your knees are going to be scraped, but those scars are just documented strength. Because when you get to the other side of that mountain, yeah, it hurt, but I'm over here now. And I got people on the other, I got people back there that don't even want to climb this thing.
Nice, dude. Yeah, that makes sense. Dee, I have two more questions.
Yeah, man.
I have one too. Have you tried? Because I was looking at your video earlier today in the morning. One that you posted. Did you try the wings from Taco Bell?
The wings from Taco Bell?
Yeah.
That sounds like that sounds like it's a crime. That doesn't make any sense. You said wings from Taco Bell? Like, I don't even do the tacos from Taco Bell, man. Like, I just go to my girlfriend's. I go to my girlfriend's. I go to my father-in-law. He does the best tacos. They're doing Taco Bell. What the fuck you doing with wings at Taco Bell? If you walk out with wings from Taco Bell, you need your ass smacked, and somebody needs to talk to your mother because her son is not doing life correctly.
I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I was going through your Facebook and I saw that video that you shared about this guy going to Taco Bell and getting wings because he heard it. So he was gonna go and eat those.
Oh yeah, that's my buddy Stefan. Stefan Johnson is an awesome voice actor, and he's got like 7 million followers on TikTok and Instagram. He's doing the thing. He's gotten some great jobs. He worked with Will Smith lately, and he worked for TikTok, and he's awesome. So I always share his stuff just because I'm a big supporter.
Nice. Yeah, I was laughing my ass off at 6 o'clock in the morning with them Taco Bell wings. I was like, "What?"
It's a good way. It's a good way to start the day, man. It's a good way to start the day.
I'd probably like to try those just because I'm not. I get what you're saying about Taco Bell. Believe me, it's definitely not Mexican food. Yeah. It's definitely not authentic Mexican food. But I have grown to like kind of like Subway. I remember when Subway first started, I thought it was the nastiest shit on the planet. And then I was very young, but they didn't have as much variety that they do now. And so I've tried some stuff that I have fallen in love with somewhat. And then Taco Bell, there's certain things I like from there. The Nacho Supreme.
No, there's some edible stuff. Yeah. There's stuff that you can eat. There's stuff that
but wings, I don't know, man. God, I was hoping you tried them, D. I was gonna ask you how they work.
It's almost like you see a trailer for a movie that's so bad, and you're like, I have to see this. Like I just have to. Like I don't want to, but I have to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean, man. I'd like to ask you something. Would you ever consider being a co-host on Talk the Talk?
Jesus, on the spot, just like that.
Right?
It'd be a conversation we'd have to, discuss. I have, my own thing and another podcast on the side, and work, and my daughter and my girlfriend. But I mean, I'd love to guest co-host if that's cool.
That's actually what I was referring to.
Yeah, like a bench player. You just call me once a month or something,
I think we would just have to plan it to whenever you're available. But I thought I'd ask you because the reason for that, and yes, I meant co-host, is because I really admire your interview skills. Like you're very good at what you do. Man. Your channel's very good. The way you conduct it is superb. So that's why I just respect you a lot in that regard. And I'm glad you're considering at least, being co-host, of course. And that's what I was asking.
I appreciate those nice words. That was nice of you. I appreciate that. And we can talk about it. Of course, we'll talk about it.
Plans for the future, D, on your podcast on DNC Digital.
Nice.
Is there anything that you got lined up? Where can the audience see your stuff?
You can follow me at DNC Digital on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit that little bell. I don't know what it does, but apparently it's a good thing for YouTube people. I don't know what it does, but it just like and comment and tell your buddies. And I've interviewed all different kinds of people from all different types of industries and areas of work. My next move is to move it to a podcast platform like Google Podcast, Spotify. I'm going to put my backlog of interviews up there. So, because it's hard to sit there for an hour to watch a video, like people's attention span aren't that, long anymore. If a TikTok video is longer than 40 seconds, you're probably scrolling already because, nobody pays attention anymore. So I'm moving to a podcast platform. I'm taking a break from interviewing. Not sure when I'll be back, but, I'm just taking care of some things at home and work, work takes a lot of my time. But just follow me there and see what pops up and just take a look at my old interviews and just tell me what you guys think. There's some pretty, my early ones are kind of like, oh shit, dude. But you get better as you go on because there's no way you get worse if you just keep doing this, if you keep doing it over and over and over again.
I know you said you would be co-host, and that's great. But I'd like to, my brother and we want to start a new show.
I want you to drive us everywhere. I want you to be the cameraman. I want you to be here 8 hours a day. I'm going to do this while we're recording, so you have to say yes.
No, I want to ask you another question. So the question is, my brother and I plan on doing a show. We've talked about it a bunch of times. We're probably going to do it like this in the beginning. And then once things get better, we get back to the in-person stuff. But we've always talked about doing our own show where we talk about many different topics. And my brother and I can be on the phone, and man, like I plan on being on the phone with him sometimes like 10 minutes at the most. And it just never goes to plan because, like I have something to eat. Dinner's about to, we're about to have dinner and I'm on the phone with him and it just goes way past the time limit. So my question is, would you consider being one time a guest on our show to talk about wrestling? Just because from the interviews that I've seen, I like your intake in wrestling, seriously, and I would like to talk about some of the different topics along with getting my brother's perspective and my own perspective, and I think it would be an awesome show. That one episode.
Yeah, man, of course.
Cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It seems like you see wrestling like you're as passionate as I am about all the talented people, like filmmakers, local filmmakers, actors, entertainers. I feel like that about, this region here too, is that there's so much talent. Just like you said about the wrestling talent, I feel the exact same way about the Valley when it comes to that.
When people go to the movies, all these movie stars, they started somewhere. So might as well be one of those supporting people in that person's story, in the beginning of their story.
Right. Any last message, Dee? We're down to 1 minute.
1 minute. You got me at 1 minute. All right. Peace and love. Just be fucking nice to everybody. Don't be a dick.